Welcome back to another exciting episode of Curious Kids. I'm your host, Edward Stone. You've probably heard about Saturn's bright rings, but did you know Jupiter has rings too? Today, we're going to take a closer look at Jupiter's faint, mysterious rings and discover how they formed. Let's blast off into the ringed world of Jupiter.
Chapter 1. What are Jupiter's rings? Jupiter's rings are made of dust and tiny particles, and they're much fainter and thinner than Saturn's famous rings. In fact, they're so faint that we didn't even know they existed until the Voyager spacecraft flew by in 1979. Jupiter has 4 main rings: the halo ring, the main ring, the Amalthea-Gossamer ring, and the Thebe-Gossamer ring. These rings are made mostly of dust and debris that come from Jupiter's small moons, which are constantly being hit by meteoroids. Chapter 2. How did Jupiter's rings form? Unlike Saturn's rings, which are made of icy particles, Jupiter's rings are mostly made of dust. The dust comes from Jupiter's small moons like Amalthea and Thebe, which get hit by meteoroids. When these tiny impacts happen, they knock dust off the moons and send it into space, where it forms the rings around Jupiter. Because the particles in Jupiter's rings are so small, they don't reflect much light, which is why the rings are so faint. You can't see them from Earth without powerful telescopes or spacecraft. Chapter 3. The structure of Jupiter's rings. Jupiter's rings are divided into 4 main parts. The halo ring is the closest to Jupiter and is very thin and faint. The main ring is the brightest part, but it's still much fainter than Saturn's rings. Then, there are the Gossamer rings, which are named after Jupiter's moons Amalthea and Thebe. These rings are made of fine dust that stretches far from the planet. These rings are constantly being replenished by dust from Jupiter's moons, so even though they're faint, they're always there, orbiting the giant planet. Jupiter may be famous for its massive size and swirling storms, but its rings are another fascinating part of this giant planet. They may be faint, but they tell an amazing story about the moons and meteoroids that surround Jupiter. So today we learned that Jupiter has faint, dusty rings that were discovered by spacecraft in 1979. These rings are made from dust knocked off Jupiter's small moons by meteoroid impacts, and they're constantly being replenished by new dust. And now, for a ringtastic joke before we go, why didn't Jupiter's rings ever win an award? Because they didn't get enough attention. Thanks for watching, Curious Kids. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our exciting space adventures. Stay curious and we'll see you in the next adventure.